Wake up. You have a headache. There's half a loaf of brown bread on the floor next to your bed. Your bedroom walls are acidic green painted breeze blocks, and your fire alarm has a sock over it. What is this place? You ask yourself, while you desperately search for some nearby liquid to relinquish the desert dryness currently residing inside your mouth. Ah yes. I'm in Fallowfield in 2020, the morning after a night sat in a kitchen, any old kitchen, literally any kitchen, just a kitchen, passing around a bottle bong made from a Ribena bottle that is like about 4 months old and has sort of burn marks all around it, and subsequently eating half a loaf of brown bread, raw, no butter, no sauce, just raw. I just ate 6 slices of wholemeal brown bread. It's time to arise. Your 3-hour Zoom lecture on feminist theatre approaches. Welcome to first year Fletcher during a global pandemic. Hello, welcome to this episode of the Fluently Fletch Podcast. It's episode 2, so that means officially I've done more than one episode. So officially this can be called a series. Yes, this is a series. So if you're new to this format, yeah, my legs are out. I have got shorts on, they're quite short, but yeah, my legs are out. I guess this is an audio. If you're listening on the audio, you can't see my legs, so just visualize 2 beautiful, muscular, rowing, built, because I row, legs. Anyway, that's really not important. Well, I guess it is, because it's about me. If you're watching this, because I guess this is also a visual medium. Hey, yeah. So this is episode 2 of Fluently Fletch, the podcast. I think that's the name. I mean, we're just going to go with that for now. And in this episode, as you can tell from the beautiful monologue that I literally just came up with, we're talking about my experience as a student in 2020 during the years of the pandemic. And I was a student at the best uni on earth, Manchester! Money! So this is a little, I wanted to take an episode that was like a trip down memory lane of a formative year that really, I guess, was an interesting time that is I would quite like to reminisce on, because, I don't know, it was a really fun, yet extremely chaotic and potentially not particularly healthy era, but one that will be good to talk about. I've got a few themes and topics I want to talk about. We're just going to go straight into it. However, I've come up with a new format to begin this beautiful podcast, which is the top of the charts. It's honestly the best podcast on the planet. That was just a review that I read last week. And this first little format I want to put into all my little podcasts. And I've really ingeniously given it a great name, with a lot of alliteration. So it's called Fletcher's 5-minute faves. So what I want to do is have 5 things that I want to discuss really quickly at the start of the episode from my week since I last filmed, that are my favourite 5 things from the last week or whatever. And I'm going to put a timer on, so I really only have 5 minutes to talk about them. But I just thought, let's start the podcast with some interest, some intrigue, some what's been going on in my life. So I've got my list here, and I'm going to try and keep it to 5 minutes. So I'll try and do a minute for each, or not, depending on how much I want to talk about it. So let's begin Fletcher's 5-minute faves. It's actually Fletcher's 5-minute faves. There's a lot of 5s and Fs going on. I don't know if it is a good name, but that's all I've got right now. So we're going to begin with my Fletcher's 5-minute faves. Let's begin. So, number 1, I've written down on my lovely list, Lily Allen. I'm really obsessed with Lily Allen at the moment. I started listening to her podcast with Nikita Oliver called Miss Me. And I think I listened to the whole series in about a week. So I'm kind of just waiting on new episodes to come out, which is a bit sad. But yeah, I really love her frankness. I mean, I've always loved Lily Allen. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, when we go to swimming lessons, my mum would play her first album, All Right Still, in the car. So I have quite a connection to that album. But I just love Lily Allen, and I think if you're not familiar, if you're not into her, then get into her. She's really cool. She's quite opinionated. And then last night I found on YouTube a series called Lily Allen from Riches to Rags. It's about when she set up her clothing store with her sister. That did flop. It did like fail. She lost £1 million, but it's quite fun, and it's very 2010s British um television sort of docu series. It's actually really funny, and it's just about how they set up their shop. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a Lily Allen era at the moment. I just listen back to her music and I'm like, oh, quite like it. Number two on Fletcher's 5 minute faves. I actually talked about that for way too long. Not using Chat GPT. Is it Chat GPT? Chat Chi Chi G B T. I don't even know how to say it, to be honest, babe. This is a thing that I'm standing by until eventually I'll just have to become a robot like everyone else. But when people are like, oh, I need to come up with some ideas, let me just chat GPT it. I'm like, babe, stop. Stop it. We need to have individual thought. If we just use chat GPT, then we are not going to need to be thinking. And then we'll never use our brains ever again. And we'll just go into ChatGPT for anything. I keep getting these fucking adverts for Gemini, this Google thing. And I'm just like terrified. I'm like, babe, you don't need to ask Gemini for date ideas. Just fucking think of some date ideas. Is that like a radical thought? Like to have your own thoughts? I don't think it's that radical. So yeah, don't use not using ChatGPT is currently my new fave. I guess if I was at uni still, I probably would have used it to write my essays, but I'm not, and I kind of still want to have my brain functioning. Number three, the film Snatch, Guy Ritchie's film. I think it's 2000. I watched it the other day, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's something that you might enjoy if you like really stylized editing. The editing in the film is a bit like it's a little bit in your face and a little bit like pretentious and a bit wanky, but I love that shit. I love stuff like that. And it's a film about these gangsters, and I guess it's a comedy. And it's very quick, very snappy, quite violent. Lots of different characters' stories are happening, and they all sort of come together in the end. But I recommend Snatch highly. Really good film. Very male, quite masculine, potentially toxic masculine, but at the same time, like, it's a film. I was saying this, I was talking to my friend about this. Because people have been talking about Nosferatu and it being, like, problematic because blah, 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 he's a vampire and, like, she's just an innocent girl. And, like, it's really bad. But I'm from the school of thought where I just want to enjoy film a piece of art. I don't want to fucking psychoanalyze it, and I don't want to get too deep in the fucking socio-political aspects of a film. I mean, potentially that's. I don't. I feel like I'm in this day and age. Everyone's very self-aware. Why can't we just enjoy something for what it is? Snatch is quite like there's only really men in it, and they're not exactly men that, I mean, they're pretty fit though. That's probably why I enjoyed it. They're all just hot men. But yeah, it's very like masculine male, which isn't a bad thing. But I mean, they're quite violent and they're not exactly. I wouldn't say they were feminists, but like I enjoyed the film because it was like fun. And you know what? Kind of fun to foray into that world of masculinity, and we can't just all be fucking peace and blessings and dancing around the maypole. Like it's good to have a bit of like difference and a bit of tension in the world to an extent. Anyway, that's just a little tangent. I've literally already gone over the 5 minutes. Fuck. Oh well. No, I've got 5 seconds left. Oh fuck. Okay, well, postcards. My friend sent me a postcard, and I fucking love it. She's in Barcelona. So really appreciate that. My 5 minutes has just finished, so we'll have to move on from that. But look at that postcard, so cute. If you're listening to this, it's a beautiful piece of art. It's yellow, and I don't know who the art is by. Yeah, I do. Joan Miro, painted in 1967, it says on the back. But yeah, I think sending a postcard is really cute, and she sent me this from Barcelona. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Beth. Love you, babe. And my last thing is spring. I'm feeling like we are in. It's literally the 31st of Jan today, so we're going into February. I feel like at the end of February, is that not when like winter sort of goes and spring comes? Because I would like that, and I've been feeling quite excited about the idea of it being summer. So that's my final fave. Fletcher's 5 5-minute faves. Spring, because we just want to get some warm, fun, positive energy back in our lives. I'm over this winter period. Okay, that's my little intro. So let's begin my little trip down memory lane of my first year university experience, because I feel like everyone, well, not everyone, people who have gone to university, everyone has a different, experience. But I feel like my year, when I was in my first year, it was in September of 2020, which was, in the height of COVID, because, it was only a few months after that. And it was actually kind of a gag that we could even be in halls in the first place. But I guess it was like 6 months after the pandemic. So, but it was, I feel like we had quite a unique year, because what other freshers had to stay inside and couldn't go out in their first week? I feel like everyone did. So I feel like we had quite a unique experience when it came to the uni experience for first year. I feel like we really were the only year that had that. So I want to just talk about it. And I've got different things I want to discuss. There's a lot of chaos that went in my first year, quite a lot of unhealthy behaviours and patterns. Um, and yeah, it was like, when I look back on it now, I kind of look back through rose tinted glasses, because I'm 23 now. I'm not fucking 20, but it was. I feel completely different, to be honest, to how I felt in first year. And I guess that's a good and a bad thing. I guess that shows growth. But I want to first begin my trip into first year in Fallowfield, Manchester, 2020, by just taking a look at 10 photographs which I've printed out for no one's benefit other than mine. And I want to discuss just 10 pictures to set the scene of who I was as a person and what I was going through at the time. And also, there's a few house parties thrown in there, and I want to try and work out when that was and what was going on. And I've just realised, because this is a podcast, that choosing pictures to talk about isn't really the most inclusive decision for you people who are just listening on the audio devices. So sorry about that, babe. But I'm going to try and do my best to describe the images that I'm going to be discussing. So let's begin with image number 1. This is my first photograph that I ever took in Fallowfield in halls. And as you can see, let me describe it for my lovely audio listeners. There is a fag standing. No, that's mean. I actually kind of hate that word. But I'm not lying. There's a very visibly queer male standing in a bathroom. This is a shared bathroom. I shared this bathroom with 4 other men on my floor. It was actually quite tidy. We were all quite tidy. But yeah, we had shared bathrooms, and I am wearing quite like an out there outfit. I think it was my first. Well, it was my first day on campus, so I really wanted to make a good impression. And really, back then, I was obsessed with, I don't know, doing the most. Like, I really did the most all the time. And you can see it evidenced in this photograph. There's probably about 5 necklaces on. And I have some lovely shell hoop earrings in. And I think I've got makeup on. Yeah, I've got a full face of like eyeshadow. I mean, I'm doing the most. This is post my woman era. I had a woman era. If you go back on this channel, you can see me in a pink prom dress when I was, I think, 16, 17. And I call that my woman era. I had long hair, giving very non-binary tea before non-binary was like a big thing. I feel like I was in that non-binary vibe. I feel kind of distance from that now. I just can't be bothered for all that. Like it's just too much. But as you can see in this photo, I'm still kind of in that non-binary vibe. We love. I mean, it's quite cute to reminisce. First Fallowfield toilet selfie. I was so young. I was so hopeful. I was really excited for my first year, and at this point, I hadn't become a massive stoner. So I had a decent memory, and I had a clear head, and that would not last very long. I actually think that would probably go in about a week. And you know what? I blame that on the fact that we were locked inside for a year, that we all went a bit crazy. Well, I did anyway. Anyway, so that's my first picture. We love her. Let's give it a score out of 10. Let's give it a 7. Why not? Second picture. This is the view from when you would leave my flat and you would look out. So it's quite beautiful, as you can see. This is just, I thought I'd set the scene of Fallowfield and what it looked like. I was in Maple Court, which is one of the I guess buildings, and I guess the uni kind of looked a bit like a prison. It gave prison energy. My bedroom had breeze block walls painted green, and yeah, it wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing place, but this is just how it looked, and you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. I think staying in a halls that is really pretty. That's a fucking cop out, mate. You need to have halls that is grim because it's character building. There needs to be rats in your building. Otherwise, what are you doing? What are you playing at? In this photograph, I'm dressed as a chameleon, and I you know, it was a fashion decision that I made, and one that I stand by 100%. You know, what more could be said? Like, I think I was feeling great. I think this must have been a theme party. I hope it was. And sometimes you just have to dress up as a chameleon. This was my friend Lucy's costume. It had a lovely tail. And I think what I love most is the headpiece. I think a commitment to wearing a really hot headpiece at a house party shows a lot of dedication to the look. And it shows, a real sense of commitment. And that is something that I definitely respect. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. I think I look beautiful. And as you can see, this is my camera. I had a really great camera at uni. Unfortunately, I put it in a pile of beer at a festival last summer, and it broke. And I just never really fixed it. I quite like that it's broken. I think it's kind of fun. I just have it now in my room as like a little statue to a different time. But yeah, this is me as a chameleon. And, we all make decisions, we all make fashion choices, and this was definitely a choice. This picture is lovely. So this is a ashtray that looks like someone, coughed up blood into it. And this was an ashtray in my neighbour's flat. And this really sort of, it sets the scene of the kind of life we lived in first year. The ashtray, I think, is filled with K cider, which was a sort of 8% cider that the only ingredient on it was cider. And if you drank 4, which I did one time, we did like a centurion, I drank 4 ciders over the course of 2 hours by doing like shots. I can't remember anything. And, that might have been a reason why I can't remember things even now. My memory is pretty fucked. But yeah, this is a great image. It's quite stunning, really. You've got the cigarettes, you've got the beer in the ashtray, and I think that is ketchup. But the caption is a bit of lung, so, this could actually have been someone coughing up their lung. We'll never know. And then there's some sort of pie or some sort of pie wrapping next to it because, people weren't able to throw things in the bin at uni. It was very much just to place things wherever. And yeah, so that's a really beautiful image, and, it really paints a picture of, where I was at when I was in my first year. Really pretty. So this is definitely my woman era, this image. This is woman era sort of cusping on my non-binary tee. So we're wearing a Topshop sort of pajama top with a lovely sort of a headscarf and full face of makeup. Very femme vibes. Lovely stacked necklaces. Actually, this outfit is kind of hot. I'm not sure I'd wear it now, but it's just an example of the kind of style that I would wear in my first year. I was really obsessed with like wearing a look and potentially too obsessed, and I think I was a little bit, verging on cringe when it came to how I dressed. I was no stranger to wearing a zebra print skirt to a party, and we all make choices in life. But yeah, this is definitely hot. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. And yeah, the girl behind me in that image, she actually ditched us and she completely blocked us from her life. But wish you the best, darling. Love you, babe. In this picture, this was at my 20th birthday, and it was called Fletcher's 90s 20th. And I think I ate with this outfit. This is actually my mum's top, and the whole theme was 90s. And in this other picture, you can see I plastered the whole walls of my flat, like the entrance corridor, the kitchen, everywhere, in photographs from the 90s. And you know, it was a serve. I actually think it was probably the best party ever thrown. And then to finish it off, here's me with a bowl on my head, and I'm making a lovely smile. And yeah, I think this is a really great picture that indicates, where I was at in my first year. You can't really go wrong with a bowl on your head, and I'm really proud of this picture. I think this is a really great image, and this is, there's a lot of layers to this, and it's beautiful, like a fruit bowl. It's colourful, and you know, it tells a story. So I want to begin talking about my routine. So, as I sort of talked about in my lovely opening monologue, you wake up and you're in a room and it looks like a prison cell. The walls are painted green and you're in a single bed, and your room is honestly the size of like a large bathroom kind of size, very small. And I shared a flat. My flat was called Flat 21, and I lived with some icons, some lovely people. I hope they're all okay. I love you all. I can still name them: Dan, Sam, Natty, me, Nikki, Char, Ella, Yola. My memory can't be that bad. Yeah, so there was 8 of us in our flat. I think an 8-person flat is actually quite lovely because there's enough. I mean, we all really got on, which is really nice. I know some flats didn't, and but I feel like the more people that are in your flat, the better. Just because it's fun, and we all kind of got along quite well. There was a boys' floor and the girls' floor, and then because it was a pandemic, we all spent a lot of time together because you couldn't go into uni for your classes or your lectures. You had to do them all in your room on Zoom, which that in itself was quite a weird, depressing way to start uni. I would wake up and then I'd walk into the kitchen, and I'd be shocked to see mess everywhere. Everyone's quite messy, and because we were just living in your flat as well, you literally just are living in mess, which is kind of grim. But you know, I passed all of the offers like first year. Like everyone's just a bit of a mess in first year. I was for sure. I'd make a coffee, have some cereal, and then like I would have to do a 6-hour drama workshop on Zoom. Do you know how boring that is? It's so boring because you're not in a room with people, you can't interact with people. So you're literally just on your own in a room, and everyone else is in the same position. And it's just kind of, it was just weird. It was such a weird time. Anyway, it was just a load of bollocks. Um, but that was an example of life in the pandemic. Like you had to just do everything from your room. Lectures like would just be on your desk in your room. You spent so much time in your room, and yeah, so maybe I would wake up, I'd do like a 2 hour seminar on world cinema, and then it would be sort of lunchtime. You go out. My best friend was called Isabel, still my bestie, love her, and we were kind of menaces, to be honest. We would sort of go outside of our flats, and all the flats sort of were in the same area, and there were sort of walkways in between with sort of open grass spaces, and we would just sort of on our little breaks walk around, roll a ciggy, and just be like strutting around, talking like obnoxiously loud. We were sort of a little bit delusional in first year, and we sort of thought everyone was obsessed with us. I kind of still, I kind of still back that. I think it's fun. I think if you're in your first year of uni, go into it thinking that everyone's obsessed with you, because why not? It's just fun. I think people honestly just thought we were fucking annoying. But we would be like chatting like, yeah, babe, blah, blah, blah. Smoking cigs, like strutting up and down the street, really loud. And then, especially if you would walk past someone's flat of someone that you fancied, you would talk really loud. And everyone would just sort of be looking in and looking in on you. And it kind of felt like you were famous. Because, I mean, I know for me, if I saw anyone walking outside my flat, I was just so bored, I would automatically go and see who it was. And it's a little bit, everyone sort of went a bit nuts. But yeah, we would like just strut up and down. Then you come back, and then maybe I'll do like another 2 hour seminar, and then pretty much that's uni done for the day. And then I would literally meet my gals. I had a little gang, and we would just sit in a kitchen, and not I don't do this anymore. I don't condone this behaviour. We would just get really stoned all the time, and that was a big uh, takeaway from my first year at university, actually. And another topic, and something that I potentially want to warn people about if you're going into uni, I actually recommend don't smoke uh, the wacky backy. I don't think it is in the long run beneficial in any way. I absolutely we like on there wasn't much to do. I mean, there was. We realistically we could have, you know, taken a night class. We could have gone to the library. We could have done yoga. We could have baked a lovely cake. We probably could have, benefited our skills in many subjects, any subject. But instead, we just chose to smoke so much wacky backy, so much marijuana that I honestly think I might have memory loss now. And that's a choice that I made, and like my fashion, it was definitely a choice that I don't think I'd make now. But yeah, that was a big part of my uni experience. I think I made a lot of unhealthy decisions in first year, and that was probably the biggest one. I think smoking like that is just not good for you, and it's just I don't really fuck with the wacky backy anymore because it's just I don't enjoy it, and I think at the time you're just there's not much to do and you're just bored, and I just became really dependent on it, and it's not something that I would do again. So if you're going to uni and you're watching this, just stay away from it, babe. It's just not. There's no pros to it really. But yeah, that was a fun choice that I made. And I want to talk about the slay outfits that we would wear. Yeah, so me and Isabel, my bestie, my girl, is very twink and a redhead. Like she was stunning, redheaded woman. We were just joined at the hip. One of our favourite things to do as a student in first year was to choose an outfit to wear, like a lovely outfit, like a very slay, stylish look. And what we would do with that outfit is we would walk around and we would sit deliberately in an open space. The green outside of my halls, there was a big green. That was a favourite spot of ours, and we would sit on the wall. There was a wall, like a half wall, and we would sit and just smoke cigarettes and talk, and that was it. That was the extent of the activity, and we took a lot of joy in it. There's something quite joyful about putting on an amazing outfit and being gregarious, and I don't know if gregarious is the right word, being oblivious to the world around you, being annoying to be quite frank. We would just be strutting away, having a cig, and we would sit on the wall and just like pose, and we would just be like that, just posing. If you're listening to it on the audio, I'm posing right now. We'd just be posing, and that was it. Like that was quite a profound memory I have from my first year because we would do that a lot. If it was cold outside, we would deliberately wear like trousers and a small top, and it was all just because I think we were just craving love and attention. I think you know maybe it was survival mode. We were really in a deluded sort of time, and I think the pandemic did that to a lot of people, but we really just took the sort of craziness of the time and we just made it all about ourselves, and we became massive narcissists, and I love that. I kind of respect it. Next I want to talk about a halls of residence. There was lots of different halls of residence, as I'm sure everyone has. In Manchester, in Fallowfield, there was, Oak House, which is what I was in, which is, I think, the best. There was Owens Park, which is where the big tower, ugly tower building is, which I think has been knocked down now, so end of an era. There was Wootton Hall, which was like the private sort of posh halls, and then there was Unsworth, which was the modern, new, stunning halls. And me and my friend, we would call it Paris. We would say, "Do you want to come to Paris? Should we go to Paris?" And that was because it was just so much nicer than where we lived. It was all modern, all freshly made, like really expensive. I actually had a little sort of relationships one night stand situation with a boy in Unsworth, and his room was so modern and so beautiful. I guess I was sort of looking for, a bit of a sugar baby vibe, but yeah, it was like a really pretty halls of residence, and we would like skateboard around there, and it kind of felt like we were the sort of like Victorian urchins. Scuttling along from Fallowfield, from our little prison cell halls, into this beautiful modern area, and yeah, it was Paris to us. It was just so nice. I want to talk a bit about the house parties that we went to, because when you're in a halls of residence that is all in the same place, you basically just end up going into everyone's flats. Like, it was not uncommon to, it's like 11 o'clock at night, and you step outside your building, and you just walk 100 meters to a building that has sort of an open door, and then you just walk into someone's party. That's kind of just how it went for a lot of the time. Um, Sometimes you would pretend that you knew people, and you would sort of just walk in and be like, "Hi babe, you're right." But you literally would just be walking in with your bottle of wine or K-ciders that you just bought from New Zealand Wines, and you would just rock up to any party. I remember one time a man, like an actual like 40-year-old man, had broken into sort of the staircase that my flat was in, and we were having a party, and for some reason he was trying to get in, so he aggressively was kicking on our door, and then I think he shat on the door. Because the next day there was shit all outside of our door, and the door was broken, and this man had tried to get in. I can't say that Fallowfield is exactly safe. I never had a problem, but it was a bit of a weird, dangerous time. People just sort of welcoming people into their houses, not knowing who anyone was. And I was, guilty of that. And talking of the staircase that my flat was a part of, I think it was flat 19, and they hated us. Me and Isabel, my friend, we were quite adamant that they hated us. When you walked into our staircase, you would have to walk past their flat to get up to our flats, because we were on the top floor. And the people in this flat were so hot. They were a really hot flat. There was one guy called George. Hey, if you're watching this, you're really hot. And he was the hottest man ever. And me and my friend were slightly obsessed with him. Not slightly, like completely obsessed. I think when you're stuck in halls of residence and you can't go out, it's a bit of a cabin fever situation. And we honestly were just obsessed with anyone and everyone that we were, like any men really. But this guy called George was fit as fuck. But this flat, they did not fuck with us. We were kind of, my flat and we were, I don't know, I think we were just having fun. They were very cool, London cool vibes. And I feel like they didn't love our energy. But George, he was fit. And I want to finish off this little episode by talking about the fence fiasco. In Fallowfield, we did end up getting told off and in trouble for all the parties that we were having and for all the socializing. This was sort of like in 2021 January time, I think. No, it was around bonfire night, I think. And the uni decided that they were going to close off all the public spaces with fences and pretty much lock us into our halls. So there was fences put up everywhere. You couldn't really go anywhere other than your halls. I guess because everyone had COVID-19, so it was an attempt to stop the spread, I guess. But my year, we were not having it, babe. I guess I was in a year. I don't know. I feel like Manchester University attracts a lot of. Everyone was very like political, like really like left wing political, and I love that. Like, you do you. So everyone was very like, you can't lock us in. You can't do this. And I remember on bonfire night, um, there was a massive sort of riot, and people started ripping down the fences, and it was a big dramatic thing. It even got onto the news, BBC News, I think. And there was pictures of sort of people protesting, and everyone was sort of so impassioned by the fact that we'd all been locked into our halls and we're not prisoners. So we all ended up ripping down the fences. I actually did not partake. I actually think I took. I'm not sure I should say this. I whatever. I took it and I played Sims 4. That was sort of my vibe, and it's not something that I would do now. It's not something that I condone. But this is very much 2020 Fletcher when I was irresponsible. But I just thought I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna rip down fences. I'd rather just play The Sims 4. So that was kind of the vibe I was on, and I woke up the next day and all the fences had been ripped down. Um, it was a fun time. It was a really interesting time. Anyway, I I feel like that was a really nice cathartic look at halls of residence, at Manchester halls of residence, at my first year during the pandemic. I would not change a thing. I think it was character building. I think the fact that it happened during a pandemic where we weren't allowed to see anyone else other than the people in our halls, it meant that my year was really close, and I feel like I had connections with people all throughout the 3 years of uni. Whereas I look at like my little sister and I feel like there's lots of different groups, and people are more separate. But I think because we were all together all the time, everyone, you would see everyone and you would go to the same parties with people. There was something kind of wholesome about it and something kind of sweet. And yeah, I think we're quite lucky to have that. I feel like students don't get that now. Like we really had a unique experience. So I wouldn't take it back. I would not change it. One thing I would change is my habits, my unhealthy habits. I think that it was all, well, you know what, fuck it. It was all just a bit of fun. I live to tell the tale, and like, I don't like to get too deep. I feel like I made the choices that I made, and yeah, I probably would have smoked a bit less marijuana because what was I doing? Not a good idea. Don't do it, guys. I don't condone that behavior. Or like, do it if you want to. Like, I don't really care. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little trip into my first year of university. I'm almost 24, so this is going to be like 4 years ago. So I feel like it's enough time since it happened for me to have distance, have space. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast episode. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about next, but you know, there's many things. There's many things to discuss in the world, and yeah, babe. If in doubt, just put a bowl on your head. Yeah. Thanks, bye. Oh, my fucking feet. Oh. See you later, babe. Mwah.